The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, March 23rd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The second round of the NCAA tournament absolutely delivered the drama on Sunday as the first number one seed has been ousted from the tournament. It's also opening week in Major League Baseball, but we'll talk about that coming up in a little bit. David Behrman joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Behrman, always a pleasure. Very happy to welcome you here to the Better Day podcast. For those of you who aren't aware, the Betting with Behrman podcast also available on the Believe podcast network, so you want to check that out. Betting with Behrman is the website, the daily newsletter as well. You'll want to check out everything that David's got going on there on his site and on his pod. And happy to have you on here this episode, David, because not because I need answers for Florida losing, but I figured if there was anybody that I needed to talk to about that game, it has to be you. I don't know what went wrong. I mean, I was tweeting out during the game. I'm also hosting on VSiN during the game, so I'm trying to juggle both. But I thought in the first half and the first portion of the second half, that's as bad as Florida looked the entire season, and that includes the blowout loss to Vandy in the SEC tournament.
Well, first of all, Scott, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for checking in on me after the game to make sure I was still going to honor my commitment of being on despite trying to look for the highest roof in Connecticut to jump off of. You're not wrong, and I've watched them play a couple of non-Florida type games this year. They got blown out at home by Auburn. They got blown out by Vanderbilt. But arguably they played worse tonight because, give Vandy credit. They hit every three in the ball game, and then Florida couldn't come back. Got foul trouble against Auburn earlier this year, so stuff happens. No one goes undefeated. We've seen that. Not even Miami of Ohio goes undefeated. But what shocked me tonight is how they lost. They didn't lose because the other team shot lights out. They didn't lose because they got into foul trouble. They lost because they didn't play Florida basketball. Florida has won games this year with the best front court in basketball that has out-rebounded people by 16 to 18 rebounds a game by using their big men. Ruben Chineau had no points, 1 rebound, and 1 shot. You're a 7-foot-tall center that was so inefficient tonight that Todd Golden couldn't play him at the end of the game. Todd got him back in. He sat him because he was in foul trouble, brought him back in at the 6-minute timeout, or 6 minutes left in the second half. And then when they get to the 4-minute timeout, he took him out for the rest of the game because they were so ineffective with him in. Now, give all the credit in the world to Ben McCollum and that Iowa team. They had a wonderful game plan. If you're going to shut down the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and shut down a guy that has a school record 18 double-doubles, that's why you won the game. There are a lot of question marks that we can go through that happened during the game, why they didn't go inside early like they dominated Prairie View. They looked like they were the best inside team in the history of basketball against Prairie View.
Yep.
And then they went 9 minutes without a field goal in the first half. Yet you hit halftime, you're only down 2. And you did exactly what I would have done. You went all in on Florida in the second half. And listen, they took the lead. They had a 4-point lead late.
Yep.
And they put Chinny back in. The offense disappeared. They took him out. And still, they had a 3-point lead and the ball with under 2 minutes to go. And if you were to tell me that, I would say, listen, advance, survive, and advance. You get to the next round. I stated on Twitter X before the game that I wasn't nervous about the matchup. I was nervous about the situation because the second round game has always been the hardest game because first round you're expected to win. You get the jitters out of the way, and then you go blow out some bad team. Sweet 16, you got a week off to prepare. The Elite Eight, it's like World Series Game 7. All man on deck. The entire bullpen's going to play. No matter what it takes to win the game. It's that second round game where you're playing a team you're better than that is playing for their season. No one anybody outside of Iowa thought Iowa was going to play in this game tonight. They played their Super Bowl. They played their Final Four. They did everything tonight. And quite frankly, to sum it up, Scott, and I don't say this often, they got outplayed. They got out hustled. They got out tough. The other team was tougher, and they got out coached, which I've never said. I've never said. They got
That is
outcoached.
that's the biggest factor to me. That's the biggest factor. And Iowa closed as a 10.5-point dog. They get the win 73-72. I thought that when Florida was in the bonus with 12 and a half minutes left in this game, I said Florida's going to win this game because they're going to get to the free throw on every possession because all they have to do is just go inside and Iowa can't do anything but foul. Iowa didn't get called for another foul until 3 minutes left in the game. They went 9 minutes without getting called for a foul. So I don't know if that's just Iowa being disciplined on defense, whether it was the refs swallowing the whistle, or if it was Florida's just unwillingness to be aggressive and go be physical and try and get to the free throw line. But I thought that was a big missed opportunity. And let's talk about the final situation here, David. Florida is up 2 with 8 seconds left. Why in the world you are full court pressing is beyond me. And I tweeted this out last night. I had a lot of people responding at me about the strategy there. I understand you don't want them to roll the ball up the floor to, give themselves extra time. But you have the advantage here. You're up by 2 with 8 seconds left. You play half-court defense, do a 3-2 zone or do a 2-2-1, and then when they roll the ball up the floor, you send somebody up there to force them to pick it up, but at least you are set on defense. By doing that full-court press, if you watch that replay, and I'm sure you're sick of watching it over and over again, David, but they had 3 defenders behind the ball. And, of course, it led to a 2-on-1 and a wide-open corner 3. I mean, give Iowa all the credit in the world for designing an incredible play and for nailing that three-pointer in the clutch, but that was a terrible defensive strategy by Golden.
And not only was he wide open, but he was able to catch the ball, take 2 steps backwards, shoot. It was like playing the 3-point shootout. He had all the time in the world to throw that shot up there. Now, I was in the same boat as you. I was screaming, why are we pressing? What are we doing? What's going on? I listened to Todd's post-game press conference because I'm a glutton for punishment. Even when my team loses, I got to listen to the coach, what went wrong. And the listeners may not even believe this, but he has done it before. He said his strategy was to press and foul. They were going to foul, and you might say to yourself, why would you foul up 2 when you're in the bonus? That means you're going to put them on the line. Well, there are analytics people out there. There's that word, analytics. That Todd Golden has done this before. He did it in San Francisco when he was the coach there, and somebody published something ahead of the national championship game last year warning people that if the game was tight and you had a lead with under 20 seconds to go, that Todd Golden has said he would foul in his mind, and I understand it. I also understand the people that decide that they're going to go for 2 down 14 in the NFL, but I don't really get it. That if you foul them, you put them on the line. Worst case scenario, they tie the game and you got overtime, but you got more time to set up the last second shot than the 4 seconds that you had, is his theory. And by the way, you have the number 1 rebounding team in the country to get a rebound if they should miss the free throw, which then you get fouled, you go the other way, and you win the game. So in his mind, and he's the analytics guy, not you, not me, I know 2 + 2 is 4. You foul him to put him on the line. Worst case scenario, you go to overtime. Iowa's in foul trouble. You just dominated the last 6-7 minutes of the game, yada, yada, yada. If you're going to do that, you better foul the guy. Because you didn't foul him. And yes. I'm pretty sure that even at my 10% three-point percentage lifetime, that I probably could have hit that shot.
I honestly don't hate the strategy. And I'm a guy that I'm a foul up 3 guy, right? Because I'm saying there's no possible way for me to lose. There's no possible way for me to be tied, right? If I foul up 3, I'm guaranteed to at least have a 1-point lead, right? If you foul up 2 in that situation, and I know it sounds crazy, but the worst case scenarios you mentioned is that you're tied, and guess what? Instead of them having the final shot and you having a chance to lose, you now have the final shot. And so it's one of those analytical things, as you mentioned, where like your winning percentage actually increases, and then by the way, you're putting the pressure on the kid. Maybe he misses a free throw. Like that could happen, and then you can win the game. It's non-conventional, but that's besides the point now. Florida becomes the first number 1 seed ousted from the tournament. We finally get some drama here in what has been a tournament dominated by the favorites. I know we had High Point upset Wisconsin, but a lot of people picked that. That was a popular 12-5 upset. Yes, Texas upsetting Gonzaga was an upset. This was the upset of the tournament.
Yep.
The defending national champions losing in the second round, a number one seed going out in the second round. This was the biggest upset of the tournament. I know we're going to talk about the Sweet 16 here coming up in a little bit, but now it's going to be Iowa or Nebraska playing in the Elite Eight. Let that sink in, folks, for you creating your brackets.
It's amazing that one of those two teams will be 40 minutes away from the Final Four. And listen, they've heard it. Nebraska won a hell of a game versus Vanderbilt, one of the great best games of the tournament. And Iowa just knocked off the defending champions. So they've got there. But neither one of these teams have sniffed the Elite Eight this century. So it'll be interesting to see that. And, you got the Houston versus Illinois in the other semifinal of that region, which is, that could be an Elite Eight game all by itself. And that's why many people have screamed for years you should reseed when you get this far, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because all the chalk has won out. And I still think even with the Iowa upset of Florida, you're still going to see a Final Four that's going to have a total seed thing of 6 or less. It's just going to be 1s and 2s and maybe a sneak of 3 in there. But, we'll talk about the Sweet 16 in a minute, but you got the upset. I know the entire world was rooting for it, and unfortunately you got the wrong one. But it's still largely dominated. I mean, look at the 16 teams left. It's all power conferences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, second straight year. When the biggest Cinderella, and I'm not going to use that term ever again in the show because it's not a Cinderella, is Texas.
A program with more money and facilities and everything. Yeah, it's unbelievable. An SEC team is the Cinderella, and the only double-digit seed here in the Sweet 16. You had heartbreak with Florida yesterday. I had heartbreak with St. John's. Now, I know you're asking yourself, why, Scott, why heartbreak? They won the game. What an incredible buzzer beater. Well, for those who have been following along, I know my members have, for Better Day Insider and Premium members, here in Vegas, there is Stations Casinos has a last man standing survivor contest. It's $100 to get in. You get 5 entries, and it's a minimum $50,000 prize pool. This year, there's $55,000 to the winner, and it started with 2,800 entries. After the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament, we were down to 700 entries. That's right. 2,000 were eliminated in the first 2 days. Going into yesterday, about 450 contestants alive. I had 3 live entries yesterday, and I shoved all 3 on St. John's -3.5. And in this survivor pool, it's not where you can pick a team and then you can't pick them again and you just got to survive in advance. You have to cover against the spread every game. So you have to pick one team to cover against the spread. I picked St. John's -3.5. They blow a 14-point lead late in the game and escape with a buzzer beater layup to beat Kansas 67-65. So the Johnnies, who I have in my Final Four, by the way, advance to take on Duke. They do not cover the 3.5, and I have been eliminated, David, from Survivor.
I was on with you last night on your show at halftime of that game, and I was with you on St. John's. I stopped watching it, obviously, when the Florida game started, but I kept, other TV on that channel and kept watching, and I have some friends that are enormous Kansas grads, and they were just, it was pretty ugly in the chat. And then I look up, and all of a sudden, it's a 2-point game. I'm like, what? Wait, I have 3.5. And that St. John's hit the big 3 to go up 5. We're golden. Yeah,
yep.
Well, that didn't happen. So
yeah,
I didn't lose as much as you did, but my night was just as bad.
Just painful, and now this is the craziest stat of them all, because St. John's will advance to take on Duke here in the Sweet 16, and file this under the believe it if you, don't believe it if you don't want to believe it, but it's true. In every year that Duke has won the national championship, they have defeated St. John's. Duke has never won a national championship without getting a win over St. John's. 1990, 91, 91, 92, 2000, 2001, 2009, 10, 14, 15, and they will play here this year. Duke has never won a national championship without beating St. John's first. And so could that happen this year? I don't know. Early line right now up on FanDuel. And I was curious, David, to see what this would open up at, because as a Johnny's fan, as a Johnny's backer, I wanted to take the points here. I kind of thought it might be higher but it's not. Up on FanDuel right now, Duke a 6.5-point favorite over St. John's.
They're just begging you to take Duke right there with 6.5.
Yeah.
They're reeling you in. I like the Johnnies as well. I had them beating Duke in the bracket. They almost blew the game to Kansas today, much to our chagrin, but I think they're live. Their defense is that good, and if Duke puts up another offensive stinker, call it what it is. Duke has played 10 minutes of good basketball in the last 2 weeks. Now, I know they won the ACC title, but they won the ACC title by winning by 1, by winning by 12, winning by 4. They didn't look good in any of the games, except for maybe when they played Clemson, they kind of looked good. Then they get the NCAA tournament. They didn't look great against Siena at all. They looked terrible in the second round game versus TCU until the second half. So this is not the same Duke team that we've seen all season, but maybe they figured it out in the last 10 minutes of that game. But St. John's and their defense, like they can match up, and I think they can beat Duke. I don't know if 6.5 is enough points, but they're bringing you in. So I'm with you on St. John's. If Duke beats St. John's, I'm going for another title, but
Yeah. I'm curious to see how the market moves as we get closer and closer to that game coming up on Friday. Here's your full schedule of the Sweet 16. These odds courtesy of our friends over at FanDuel. We have Purdue against Texas. These are the Thursday games. Purdue, Texas, Purdue on FanDuel laying 7.5. Iowa, Nebraska, that's also Thursday. Nebraska, 2.5-point favorites. Arizona, an 8.5-point favorite over Arkansas. And Houston, 2.5-point favorites over Illinois. I've already bet Houston. It's my best bet. It's a home game for them. The advantages that they have, David, of being able to play not just a mile away from campus, but in an arena that they play a regular season game in, where they, and well, you can talk about Duke also having that situation because earlier this year they played Michigan in D.C., but I think having that prior experience in that arena is going to help them adjust to any sight lines because they've already played there this year.
I absolutely agree, and I took the keep my mouth quiet stance when the bracket came out, full well knowing Florida and Houston were going to be in the same region, and it was going to go through Houston, and the entire alumni base on Twitter was up in arms, Houston getting a home game, but you're the champs, you go in there, you win your games, don't worry about the crowd, etc. Florida also got to play a home game today, by the way. I don't understand why the committee did it. There's a lot of things. If we had an hour to talk, we would talk about why Miami is playing a 10 seed in their hometown. So you kind of start wondering what they're doing with the bracket. They could have easily swapped out 2 seeds and not have Houston be the home team. It is what it is. And to your question, I think it's an enormous advantage, especially since they have played there this year. And listen, I think the Houston-Illinois game is going to be a phenomenal game. But make no words, this is Houston's region to lose now that Florida's gone. Again, I kept my mouth quiet, didn't complain. You play who's in your bracket and you go. But now that they're gone, Houston is the top seed in their region, playing home games the next 2 days. I don't see anybody beating them. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say I think Houston wins the national title now, because the biggest impediment to Houston getting back there was the fact that there were the 2 where Florida was the 1. Florida's out of the way. I would argue Houston's playing as good as anybody, and if you gave me one bullet right now to win the national title, it would be a team that came within 30 seconds of doing it last year.
I've bet that. I bet them last year. I bet them the year before. It feels like every year I'm on Houston and I get disappointed. But no, this year I think they are a good Final Four team. They don't have the same defense that they used to have, or that we've grown accustomed to knowing from Kelvin Sampson's squad. But they have all the experience in the world. Phenomenal coach, and as I mentioned, and as we talked about, they've played already in this arena this year. They beat Florida State 82-67 in the Toyota Center earlier this season. So the experience of playing there, you're a mile away from campus. The home court advantage is just way too strong. St. John's against Duke, we talked about that game. Duke is a 6.5-point favorite. That's going to be in Washington, D.C., and that's where Duke beat Michigan about a month or so ago, so they've played in that arena earlier this season as well. Alabama takes on Michigan. Michigan, a 10.5-point favorite. UConn against Michigan State. This line surprised me, David. UConn up on FanDuel, a 1.5-point favorite. I mean, give me Sparty all day.
I was writing a column after the Florida game ended because that was the safest thing for me to do, and I wrote ahead. UConn hadn't even tipped yet. And I had Sparty winning that region based on what I've seen. And now you get UConn in there, who basically, I know UCLA played tough, but UCLA's injured, multiple players injured. UConn should have won that game from the get-go, and they were losing in the second half. They have shown nothing over the last 3 weeks that would lead me to believe that they're better than Sparty. And the line opened with Sparty as favored. Early, at halftime, Sparty was favored. But when this game ended and UConn went on their run and won that game, that line flipped. I'm 100% on board with you. I have Michigan State winning the region.
Wow.
Beat UConn first, and then I think they beat the Duke St. John's winner. It's a good team, good coach, and Tom Izzo's found his way there before. They may not win the whole thing, but I think they can come out of this. It's a hell of a region with the coaches, by the way. You've got a lot of national titles in this region. St. John's may not have the national titles, but their coach does. So, stacked.
Oh, give me Patino versus Izzo in the Elite Eight. I want to see it so bad. And then your final Sweet 16 game, Iowa State taking on Tennessee. Iowa State 4.5-point favorites. Got to imagine that Jeffries will be able to go for this game. Because they said that he was questionable even for the second round game. Now he doesn't play, and money came in against them. But then the money came in on them. Kentucky was about a 5.5-point dog. Iowa State dominated. Evan Miyakawa, who does a great job with basketball, college basketball analytics, does his kill shots, right, with the 10-0 streaks and how prevalent it is for these teams to win if you go on these kill shots. Nobody averages more kill shots per game than the Iowa State Cyclones, about 1.26 kill shots per game. And that's a major factor why this team is where they are. And I know a lot of respected people, David, that have Iowa State as legit national championship contenders right now.
Yeah, and that was the easiest bet that I made all tournament was when Iowa State was down 20-9 at a timeout, immediate timeout, 20-9. I thought about those kill shots. I go, it's about to come. And Iowa State dominated the game after that. I mean, they were down 20-9 in the first half and then ran away with it. And I had Iowa State over Michigan to begin with before the tournament started. I have an Iowa State ticket to win the region and a ticket to win the championship, so I have them live. I like them. Obviously, they didn't play great in the first half today, but they're missing Jefferson. If he's back, I think they win this region. I think this line is too low against Tennessee. Give Tennessee all the credit in the world. This is still a Tennessee team that lost multiple games down the stretch and did not look good in the SEC tournament. I don't think many people had them in the Sweet 16 this year, maybe at the beginning of the year, but not the way they played at the end. But I think Iowa State beats them and then goes on to that phenomenal matchup versus Michigan that we're going to see.
It still has been a tournament dominated by the favorites, but as we talked about, we had the biggest upset of them all on Sunday in the second round. Sweet 16 action gets underway on Thursday. We're going to do several more previews here for the Sweet 16 coming up this week on this podcast. We'll have several different guests to give their opinions, and as well the picks for Better Day Insider and Premium members will be sent out as well as we get closer and closer to these games coming up on Thursday.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic Global Gaming League video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your Profit Boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
NBA, David, last night we had an upset. The Timberwolves, playing without Anthony Edwards, defeated the Boston Celtics as double-digit dogs, 102-92. And for us here on Better Day, this triggers the Boston Celtics system. And what is that, you might be asking? Well, it's simple. After the Boston Celtics lose a game, you bet their opponent's team total to go under in their following game. It's something that even started with Ime Udoka and had incredible success. It has continued under Joe Mazzulla. There is just a defensive focus when it comes to the Celtics after they lose a game. This year, the Celtics are 17-6 straight up, 15-8 against the spread after losing a game, and their opponent's team total has gone, let's see, out of those games, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16, and 7 to the team total under after the Celtics lose a game. Now, that being said, coming up on Wednesday, the next game for the Boston Celtics is hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder. The system's the system, David, but do we want
to go? If you play the system, you got to play the system. While you were giving that stat, I'm like, I wonder who they play next, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh.
But listen, these two teams played like a couple of weeks ago, and the Thunder won 104-102. 104 goes under their team total.
Does it matter how much rest the team has, or is it strictly a play on the Celtics rebounding and playing tight defense after they lose?
Yep, that's it. It's just a play on the Celtics rebounding with a defensive lockdown mentality after a loss.
I mean, proceed at your own risk, but a system is a system. I will be on the Oklahoma City Thunder under team total on Wednesday, which is not something I thought I'd ever say before.
Yep.
Hey,
Wizards
you get the Heat and Spurs on Monday night.
Yes, let's get to that. I wanted to also just mention the Wizards lose their 16th straight games. Now you have the Wizards with 16 straight losses, the Pacers with 16 straight losses. What a great league we have. The
NBA would be better off where, like, every single month they just eliminate like 4 teams. Every month just eliminate. It's like a survivor contest where, all right, if you're the 4 worst teams in the league, like playing guillotine in fantasy, you're just eliminated. Yeah. So you get to April and maybe you got 20 teams left battling for the playoff spots because these teams are just horseshit. I mean, it's not even NBA. I mean,
no.
I watched Bam get 83. It was like playing a JCC team. Like, what are they doing?
Let's talk about the schedule tonight in the association. The Lakers, winners of 9 straight games, are taking on the Pistons. Obviously, no Cade Cunningham dealing with that collapsed lung issue. Lakers 2.5-point road favorites here up on FanDuel in Detroit. I've asked a lot of people the same questions when it comes to the Lakers. 9 straight wins. They're playing great. By the way, Luka is going to be available for this game as the NBA has rescinded his 16th technical foul. So Luka is eligible to play in this game tonight. I'm asking everybody, with the Lakers surging now at the end of the season, are you buying them as legit contenders? Everybody I've asked, David, has said no. What is your answer? Can you buy the Lakers as legit contenders?
No, and I think they're good. I think they're finally playing to their potential, but I also think they're just a team that gets weary and banged up and doesn't stay healthy, and LeBron is Exhibit A and Luka's Exhibit B. It's a good story. They have star power to make a run, but they're not as good as the Spurs. They're not as good as the Thunder. I think maybe if the Lakers were in the East, I'd give them a shot to get to the finals because I don't think there's the Pistons are missing Cade, and the Celtics are a good story with their players back. But nobody like Oklahoma City and San Antonio was really sticking out. So I think the Lakers, they're going to get the 3 seed in the West, the way they're playing. and maybe 4 if they drop off. But I do think this is a team that will win a series, but then not win the second round. Keep in mind, last year's West, I believe it was teams 3 through 8 were all separated by like 2 games.
Yep.
So literally it could have gone in any direction. You could have been the 3 seed, you could have been the 8 seed. It's a little bit different this year. You got a little bit more cream rising up there, but I don't think they make it past the second round. I think whether they got to go to San Antonio or Oklahoma City, that's where it ends.
Mm-hmm. The Thunder tonight will take on the Sixers in Philly, laying 15.5. You mentioned the Spurs, 5-point favorites at the Miami Heat. And for Miami Heat fans, all of a sudden you look at the standings in the Eastern Conference, and it's like, okay, they're a half game out of that 8th seed, meaning a second opportunity in the play-in round. Being the 8 versus the 9 is so important because you can lose that first play-in game and then get to play again. A lot of pressure here on Miami down the stretch.
Yeah, and they've lost 4 in a row because before their 4-game losing streak, they were looking at a 5 seed at one point. And they still could get up there because 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is all tight. They're going to be playing one way or another once the regular season ends. But you're right, there's a difference between the 9 seed, 8 seed, or even getting up into the 7 seed and not having to worry about it. That 4-game slide came at a really bad time. I know they were banged up and Bam missed a few games and Powell's been out. They should all be back tomorrow. And here's a little stat for you. I was looking it up earlier as I was doing some Heat Spurs analysis for the broadcast. Bam's hit his players prop in 11 straight games. 11. People remember the 83. But he's hit it in 11 straight games, and he's hit it in 26 of his last 31 games. He has gone over his player prop. That was after he missed it 10 games in a row over New Year's. Since January 11th, he has hit it in 26 of 31, his players prop.
Are we talking just his points or what?
Just his points. Sorry, I meant points prop,
okay.
not players prop. Yeah. Points prop, yes. 11 straight and 26 of 31 over his listed points prop.
Okay, so this is the question I have though, because we've been kind of approaching this anytime a team plays San Antonio, and that is we look at kind of the interior scoring, right? And we see like obviously with Wemby, that's a big issue getting inside. They played on October 30th, right, against San Antonio. In that game, Victor Wembanyama did play. Bam Adebayo had 31 points in that game.
He had 31 points and I believe 13 rebounds, and he has played San Antonio historically well in his career. And yes, Wemby's going to be in the middle there, but this is a guy who, and I don't think the number, other than after he scored 83, they posted a big number the next night.
Yeah.
Other than that, like his numbers haven't been, posted number hasn't been climbing to the point where you wouldn't play him. And it's just, I don't know if they don't think the offense is going to go through him or not, but his number is still only 21.5 tomorrow night. So you wonder, is it ever going to get to the point where it's 24 or it's 25 and it may not be attainable? But this is a guy who's hit it 11 straight games.
There was one game last year against Wemby where he only had 6 points on 3 of 9 shooting. But as I mentioned, he had the 31 points earlier this season against Wemby. Let's see. He had 30 points in another game against San Antonio. Let me check to see if Wemby played or not in that game. Okay, so no Wemby in that game, and he goes off for 30 against San Antonio. So we really only have the 2 games against Wemby, one where he only had 6 points and one where he had 31 points. So, but the 31 points was earlier this season, yes, if that matters here. Other games of note really in the NBA, I mean, it's not a great schedule tonight, but I mean, you got the Bucks Clippers, no interest there, 13-point spread. The Clippers are 13-point favorites. Blazers 14.5 against the Nets. I mean, the Tankapalooza parlay is alive tonight. You can go Toronto. Here we go. Toronto 13 over Utah. We go Toronto, Portland, Clippers. Let's see. Tankapalooza parlay. You got to throw in Atlanta, right? And then the Thunder and Magic. Okay, yep. There you have it. Your Tankapalooza parlay is minus 115 tonight. That is 6 legs. Raptors, Blazers, Clippers, Hawks, Thunder, Magic. Your Tankapalooza parlay up on FanDuel is minus 115, David.
It's pathetic how easy that sounds, too.
Yeah.
The NBA has gotten to the point where, like, I'm not a guy who takes 6-leg money line parlays. I just don't do it. And yet you look at that and say, well, why not? It's been winning. And, I mean, you could have won a lot of money doing that in the tournament as well on some of these days. They're
all 13-point or higher favorites. Oh, my goodness. What a league What a league we live in. What a league we live in. It's unbelievable. Only one game on the ice tonight, so that should be fun. Rangers host the Senators. Last night, the Islanders did get a victory, 1-0 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Big for the standings. And David, I gave this out up on Visa, and I'll give it out right here on the pod. I think the Islanders to win the Eastern Conference at 28-1 is your best value play in what I believe to be a wide open Eastern Conference in the NHL. They have elite goaltending with Ilya Sorokin. They got maybe the Rookie of the Year in Matthew Schaefer. They got good veteran leadership with Bo Horvat. And I think that this team, if they get by a first-round series, if they wind up being a wild card and have to take on the Lightning or Carolina's going to be trouble. But I think there are a lot worse bets that you can make right now. Actually, the line has actually dropped down. It's 22-1 on FanDuel right now for the Islanders to win the Eastern Conference, probably because of that win yesterday that helped their standings. If you want a flyer, that's the flyer I'm giving out.
Now, you said if they get past the first round, I would step back part. They got to get in first.
Yes.
You got to get in first. Now, they absolutely, it may not be a wild card. They could be in, higher up, but they could also drop out. You would say the East is wide open when you have 96 points as the highest, and anybody within 79 has a legit chance of making the playoffs. Yep. So it is wide open. Rangers, you got the good goaltender. That's all sometimes it takes in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're right there. It's, would you say 22-1?
Yep, Islanders 22-1 to win the Eastern Conference.
Not a bad play. It's there.
There are worse bets to be made.
I'm trying to see how high they can get for you ahead of time. So they're right now a wild card, but they're also
they're tied in the standings. Yep. So right now they are a wild card, but they're tied with Columbus for third place in the Metropolitan. They could easily be the second seed in the Metropolitan because Pittsburgh only has 86 points. They're 1 point ahead of them. So they could finish as the 2 seed, which means they'd be playing the 3 seed. So they could have a first-round matchup against Columbus or Pittsburgh. They can win that series. And then you're talking about, having to take on Carolina and see and then see what happens. But, like I said, I think there's worse bets to be made than taking a shot on a team. And I think that, comes down to hot goaltending in the playoffs.
Do you like the system that they have for the playoffs?
No.
I think it's awful. I think it's the worst one of them all.
Yeah.
Like you're playing, they did it for the rivalries and you want to, when was the last time you heard that Carolina Columbus rivalry that just, must see TV? It's just, you wind up being unequal where one division is far superior than the other and you're missing out on great matchups.
Yeah, I hate it. Just seed the conference. Just seed the conference 1 through 8, and that's it. I hate the whole 3 teams, and then 2 wild cards, and then you play within your division first before you get to it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. A lot of things, I would change that if I was the NHL commissioner. I have a lot of opinions on how to change the NBA if I was the NBA commissioner. But I am not. I'm just a podcast host and betting analyst with you guys here.
The top 2 teams with the most points in the NHL are in the same division.
Yep.
Colorado and Dallas. They're 1-2 right now, and they would have to face each other in the second round. That's just not smart. So
good times.
At least we're gonna be able to potentially get like a Utah versus Vegas rivalry matchup or something. That's what they want. So.
I just love the playoffs. Just get us there already. But it should be a good couple of final days or final stretch here of the NHL regular season. Obviously, we're counting down the days to the start of Major League Baseball. We'll have plenty of Major League Baseball content up on BetterDay.com. There will be a new episode of the Off the Board podcast with our guys Jake Hassan and Colby Marchio that will be up here on the Better Day feed. I believe they are recording that tomorrow as they get ready for opening day in Major League Baseball. And, of course, those guys will have their baseball selections for you Better Day Insider and Premium members. David, tell people about the Betting with Behrman podcast and the Betting with Behrman newsletter and where they can follow you and find all your information.
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter X at David Behrman, just as it is, DavidBearman. As you mentioned, the Betting with Behrman podcast that we tape weekly can be found on the Believe Podcast Network on Apple and Spotify. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. If you go to BehrmanBets.com or just go to my Twitter handle, you'll find it, BehrmanBets.com. Sign up for the newsletter. It's free on Monday. So tomorrow you sign up, you get that newsletter. We had tremendous attention this weekend towards the Betting with Behrman newsletter. We had a really, really good Thursday that probably kicked that off. We didn't do very well today thanks to the Florida Gators and St. John's. But Betting with Behrman newsletter, free on Mondays, Wednesday and Friday. It's, a little bit free, a little bit behind the paywall. We got to, feed the kids and all that. So sign up. It's more educational and trends and nuggets. I'm a statistician at heart, so I dive deep into the numbers and systems and stuff, and cross collaboration with Better Day. Use your stuff all the time in there, and go from there. So veteranbets.com.
We love it. We love it. Check that out, guys. We look forward to more contributions and collaborations with David coming up. And here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic Global Gaming League video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.